If you own a Tesla, chances are your car is under recall tonight after a federal investigation into serious, even fatal crashes involving Tesla's autopilot system. Tom Costello now with a consumer alert.
The recall comes after a series of horrific accidents involving Tesla's autopilot feature.
Look at me. Look at me.
Including this one in the Florida Keys in 2019.
Right there in the bushes.
Dylan Angulo was seriously injured. His girlfriend, Nibela Benavides Leon, died after they were hit by a driver who told police he'd taken his eyes off the road while relying on Tesla's autopilot. 4 years later,
just mentally and physically, it's really destroyed my life.
Today's recall involves nearly every Tesla in America to update the auto steer function, which government investigators say is intended for use on controlled access highways without cross traffic, requiring attentive drivers with their hands on the steering wheel at all times.
There are too many drivers that are kind of over-relying on the Tesla technology.
The recall won't require owners to visit the dealer. Instead, Tesla is transmitting a software update that adds extra alerts and controls to encourage the driver to adhere to continuous driving responsibility and prohibit auto steer on roads it's not approved for. In a post on X, Tesla says it has a moral obligation to improve its safety systems, while also insisting incontrovertible data that shows autopilot is saving lives and preventing injury. The government began its investigation after roughly a dozen Teslas crashed into the back of parked emergency vehicles at night. Tesla insists autopilot does not mean autonomous, though many drivers have thought otherwise.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
This is the United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. It's laughable. It really is. Only in the upside down world that we live in are all these electric vehicles, everyone for the most part, you heard it, out of their own communist media. Then almost every single electric vehicle from Tesla, which is really the only big line for electric vehicles. I get it that all of the companies are on board with making electric vehicles because, well, our government or the world government wouldn't allow them to exist anymore if they weren't on board with it. But nobody seems to see a story like that and say, hey, you know what? I've never heard of a gas-powered car having a recall of every single gas-powered vehicle, right? But they're recalling every single electric vehicle, and people still aren't saying, yeah, you know, maybe these electric vehicles aren't so great for us. Maybe they're not that safe. I mean, you tell us all the time about cyber attacks and cyber threats, yet couldn't somebody just hack the vehicle and drive it off a cliff? Well, that's the point, of course, because they will hack your vehicles. They will have control of how far you could drive and where you can go, etc. And of course, they don't mention all the other fun things about the electric vehicle, like, well, here's a little montage of the wonderful things electric vehicles bring to us, like imploding all over the place, without really anything happening other than the lithium battery getting a little too hot. So these vehicles, which clearly are not safe, not only are they not giving you, this is where you should start saying, okay, well, at least I have a choice. I could choose an electric vehicle or I could choose a gas-powered car. Oh, I might want to do the electric vehicle because it's cheaper for me. If those are the things you're thinking about, well, maybe you should be suspicious when the government is mandating. That's right, mandating, of course, in liberal states, because the civil division that's coming and what you're going to have to drive to live in certain states. Certain states are banning the sale of gas-powered vehicles, which means you won't have a choice anymore, which means they're hell-bent on getting you in these cars that are not safe. Now, they'll tell you that they're safe, and they'll tell you you're a conspiracy theorist, and they'll just silence you from questioning what they're trying to do here. Not to mention the fact that these vehicles are used to control how far you're allowed to go. So if you want to go cross country, that ain't happening. You want to go visit grandma, that ain't happening because it comes complete with your carbon tracker. So anyone out there that's not familiar with what's going on with the carbon footprint, it's all about tracking and monitoring your every movement. And the electric vehicle is key to this. So not only are we seeing the vehicles recalled, not only are we seeing the vehicles explode, we're also seeing government overreach where they're telling us that we need to have vehicles now, because of course this makes no sense, that require automatic emergency brakes. Yeah, automatic emergency brakes.
New push to make cars safer. Government officials want all new cars to come with auto braking systems.
It's technology that would allow the cars to brake on their own. As Tom Costello reports, officials hope it would prevent deaths and injuries.
It happens 117 times a day. Someone dies on America's roads. Now the government hopes to save at least 360 lives and 24,000 injuries each year by requiring automatic emergency braking systems in all new cars and light trucks.
It's going to save lives. Make sure that there won't be that empty chair at the dinner table.
90% of new cars already come with automatic braking that slams on the brakes when a car gets too close. A AAA study found it prevents 85% of rear-end crashes under 30 miles per hour. But at 40 miles per hour, just 30% of crashes were prevented. And the systems completely failed to prevent T-bone or left turn collisions. The new government regulation would require brakes to work at up to 62 miles per hour and prevent hitting pedestrians even at night.
EMS showed up. Had to resuscitate me.
In 2021, Benjamin Gates suffered a brain injury after being run over in a crosswalk. An acclaimed cello player, he still struggles to remember the notes.
It's been a long process. It's been a journey.
The auto industry says nearly all new cars will voluntarily have AEB by 2025. But even better systems could be government required within 3 years. Tom Costello, NBC News, Washington.
So is this something anybody wants to sign up for? No, they don't, unless they're completely brain dead, which again is the majority of our society. Now, on top of all of that, what we've seen with them spewing this stuff at us about how safe electric vehicles. Oh, wait, they don't actually say that, do they? They don't say that they're safe because they can't say that they're safe. What they tell you is that you're doing a good thing for the environment. So by putting yourself in a ticking time bomb, by putting yourself in a car that could blow up in your garage and burn your whole house down and kill your entire family because of the lithium battery in your garage, because you're doing that, you're a good person. So it's worth the chance because it's better to care about the future 3,000 years from now and if we're extinct or not as a human species because the climate's warming up by 0.0001 degrees Celsius, and all the other fake data that they give you. They never talk about geoengineering. They never talk about weather manipulation because you can't control the weather, they tell you, because of course you can control the weather, and they do control the weather, right? We know they do it with HAARP. We know they do it with CERN. We know they do it with cloud seeding on a day in and day out basis, okay? All you got to do is look up. That's all, right? Remember Netflix mocking you about looking up with that movie? Look up. You see all that stuff there? Those aren't real clouds. Look in the morning when the sky's blue and then watch as one plane flies above and then two and then three and the sky is just completely gray for the entire day. They tell you it's water vapor. Yeah, water vapor dissolves. It doesn't sit there all day. It's water, vapor, okay? So anyway, these are the types of things when you hear a story about Tesla recalling all their vehicles because of security threats. How in the world can we sit here and allow the government to tell us that we can't drive gas-powered vehicles? Now, they know that some people like me and you are reacting like this. And this is going to be another one of those mechanisms that they use for herding. Blue states will be green states. In these states, you will not be able to purchase a gas-powered vehicle. Now, they're telling people right now, well, you still can drive in the state with a gas-powered vehicle because they're going to desensitize people up until the point that this is supposed to be legal in 2030, part of Agenda 2030. Some places it's going to be, mandated by 2035. They say they'll speed that up, of course. If they continue to desensitize people and just say, oh, well, you could drive in the state, you can't buy a new car. Well, they know that eventually you're just going to accept it and you're going to do it. You're not going to think twice about your family. You're not going to think twice about your safety because they're going to tell you that it's safe. I'm telling you that it's not safe. I'm telling you, use your own eyes. I'm telling you that data shows us that the whole purpose of them doing this to us isn't for the environment. It's for control. So, you see, that's, the first thing you think of if you're even if you're a sheeple out there and you're watching the news and they're, this completely formulated news and they say, hey, They're recalling all their vehicles, right? I'm sure people look at it and they laugh because the whole thing, obviously, they're trying to do here with Elon Musk. Elon Musk, of course, the brain chip, the electric vehicle, going to space, all these agendas that they're luring conservatives and Christians into, which are all part of the New World Order agenda. Brain chip? No. Is he part of free speech? No. Is this guy actually an advocate for God? Of course he's not, but he's playing his role. So liberals see this stuff and they're just laughing because they're like, Elon Musk. Nobody's seeing the actual messaging here about the safety of these vehicles because the media continues to just really not do much about it, not say much about it because that's their job. So wouldn't people's common sense meter go off when they see this? Shouldn't it go ding, ding, ding? Okay, the vehicles are recalled, the vehicles explode, people are hacking the vehicles, and we're seeing people sleeping on the road driving these things. I don't really feel safe. Would you feel safe? You tell me. Would you feel safe if you looked out your window and you saw people doing this?
NHTSA and Tesla, interestingly enough, did not tell drivers to stop using the self-drive mode. Rather, they told them to watch for the software update by April 15th.
So what would you do if you saw this? A woman asleep at the wheel of a moving car. The disturbing video taken last week as a Tesla driver apparently snoozed away on the 15 freeway. We're learning new details tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher spoke with the woman behind the camera and joins us live. Michelle.
Well, Mark, here in Southern California, drivers may be somewhat used to road rage or perhaps a high-speed pursuit, but to look over and see someone asleep at the wheel is just something that's hard to wrap your mind around. And like many of us would do, the witness we spoke with immediately grabbed her phone and started recording.
She is out, sleeping completely, knocked out, and this car is driving her. Look at how dangerous that is.
This video is driving the internet wild.
It went from local to national to global.
A woman behind the wheel of a white Tesla asleep in traffic along the 15 freeway north in Temecula.
I'm sorry. That is too damn dangerous. Sleeping and this car is driving you? Are you nuts?
That's Kiki Dolas, who captured the moment on her cell phone around 4 o'clock last Thursday.
At first, we thought, it was a health issue or something because she was kind of slumped. It was just kind of riding along a side of us. It would accelerate a little and then slow down, even when there wasn't that many cars ahead of it.
For more than 15 minutes, Dolas and her husband honked, attempting to get the driver's attention before calling the police, who were eventually able to pull the driver over.
To actually be sleeping and entrust your whole life, for a car to just drive you, is just astonishing to me how anybody would do it.
Tesla is currently under investigation over its autopilot system after dozens of crashes. And as more car makers steer toward autonomous vehicles, auto experts say pump the brakes.
It's going to be here one day if, the automakers perfect all of this technology. But right now, our research shows that drivers would prefer that these automakers focus on the current advanced driver assistance systems, make them foolproof before moving on to self-driving vehicles.
The answer is no, you would not feel safe. Okay, with some guy sleeping. They've shown so many of these videos of, what you look at, they're libs playing board games in the car as the car's driving itself. They think they're on the monorail at Disney World. Well, guess what? The rest of us don't want to be around this stuff because this is utterly unbelievably insane that we're giving our government this type of power and control, that they'll control our vehicle. Now, they'll tell you that they're not doing it. It's artificial intelligence. And then everybody just goes, oh, okay. That means it doesn't have a mind of its own. That means that they're just doing it. It's a program, just like any other program, like a video game. It can't go rogue. Nobody else can manipulate it and tell it to drive, certain YouTubers off the road if they want to do that. Oh, give me an utter break. So I just had to cover that. I saw the Tesla thing. I'm sure some of you heard about it. It's laughable at this point that we're letting them get away with it. It's not laughable. It's frightening. It's absolutely frightening. The government's saying that these vehicles are not safe by telling us this stuff, and they know when you see it that you won't even think twice about how they're banning gas-powered vehicles and mandating these ticking time bombs. And then people are going to go, you know what? I never want to leave the house. I'll stay home. I'll just stay home. And then they win ultimately because that's really what they want, is for you to stay home. Get your Apple lenses on, your virtual reality, go into the metaverse, and tell yourself that everything's okay, when in reality, you're living in hell. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all well. God bless you and your families.